welcome to this channel. On this channel I talk all about narcissistic abuse, and I want to share with you why people project onto you. So this is really cool, and you've probably experienced this. So I've experienced this too, so I'm talking about it. But all right, so take a deep breath. When people have a serious pattern of projecting onto you, it's often because they trust a narcissist's narrative more than their own eyes. They rely on believing narcissist narratives more than their own eyes. And the effect that this has on you is you feel unseen. Unseen. When narcissists control the narrative and create a bunch of narratives about us, it's because they're refusing to see themselves. And oftentimes the narrative they have about you is what they are. So you feel unseen because the narrative has nothing to do with you. And for people who have been gaslit a lot in their life, they begin to stop trusting their own eyes and even stop using their own eyes. Like, they don't look at reality and look for evidence and discern who people are, look for observations of who people are. They automatically kind of conform to whatever the narcissist says about you. And this can be kind of crazy making, because you're sitting there like, hey, like, I've never reacted this way and you're treating me as if I will, or I've never been this person and you're treating me as if I am. And it's all about that narrative, right? All about the narrative. And so my mind's going off in a lot of different directions. There's a lot of ways I could take this right now. I'm a projector in human design, so I have a gift for analysis, and I'm a systems thinker, so I can see, the overall pictures of things, and that's how I communicate with you. So I'm happy if you're here, and subscribe if you're into like deep talks and spirituality and narcissistic abuse and all that stuff, and say hi in the comments. I'd love to meet you. If you want to be mean though, I just want to let you know that I'm gonna see it, and yeah, but people are gonna do what they're gonna do anyway, so but yeah, so a healthier way of existing in reality when we build self-trust in our perceptions is that we don't feel the need to automatically trust anyone else for like advice. Oftentimes people that project onto you will have some sort of like authority figure in their life who has a narrative about you that isn't true. And people have kind of been conditioned in society to always believe authority. And in my opinion, the only true authority is you, right? Over your life. Like, you're the authority in your life, and the authority that should be trusted and believed is you. You. And so what happens is they automatically, out of survival, it comes from survival mechanisms, right? It's like really narcissistic people feel entitled to your trust. So they'll make up narratives, and if you don't trust them, they'll punish you. And if they have any sort of power over you, that causes you to conform to their narrative. And this power can be literal, physical, or it can be emotional, right? There's like different forms of ways narcissists abuse their power, right? There's like, you can believe that someone has power over you, but if you created emotional independence, they wouldn't. And you can also believe that someone has power over you in the physical, but if you created physical independence, they wouldn't, right? But yeah, so people will project onto you because they're hearing narratives and believing those narratives instead of their own eyes. And oftentimes, like, people who believe those narratives, they not only are they believing the projections of the narcissist, but they're also believing the projections that they project. So part of healing from this, for me, has been this process of reclaiming myself and recognizing like what my traits are and what others' traits are. If you're an empath, this might be really helpful for you, because I'm an empath. So I noticed that when narcissists project their emotions onto me, I've had to like, I've had this pattern of like misidentifying my emotions. So it's like I'll actually be feeling really grounded, really stable, like really trusting, and maybe a little bit sad and hurt. And then I'll react in a very healthy way. But then I'll be in contact with a narcissist who's feeling probably like really anxious, really powerless, really controlling and fearful. And then I'll think that like I'm feeling fearful. But what is actually happening is like this enmeshment dynamic of projection, where they're feeling anxious, powerless, and afraid. I'm feeling trusting, grounded, and maybe a little bit hurt in reaction to what's happening. And but I'm misidentifying whose feelings are who. And then people will do this to you too. It's like they'll recognize very positive traits about you, and then they'll misidentify who those traits belong to. And really heavy narcissists do this the most, where it creates a general feeling of being unseen, because they see you, they think it's them, and like then tell you that you're them. That's what projection is. So it's like they'll recognize a positive trait, like, wow, you're very insightful. And then if they have an attachment like to never thinking anything negative about themselves, which a lot of narcissists do, and so if they see you as insightful, they see a negative trait in themselves, they're attached to not seeing anything negative about themselves, only thinking positive, toxic positivity. So automatically they assume that they're the insightful one and you're the negative one, because of that attachment to the toxic positivity. So yeah, toxic positivity is really bad. So this also happens in even more different ways. So it's like, what can happen is someone notices a positive trait in you. For whatever reason, they don't want to assign it to you, so they'll actually assign it to someone else. Like if you're in a three-way conversation, they'll identify something really strong about you and assign it to someone else for whatever reason. There could be a lot of reasons, like jealousy or yeah. So that's where it gets really, really crazy. Like you might feel like you never get credit for your own like beauty or your own traits, and it's often because of this projection dynamic where I'll give you an example of this. Like I once had worked at this workplace where not to judge anyone there, but the people there were kind of underperforming. Like they didn't really follow all of their expectations. And I had taken initiative to do something that none of my trainers did. And my manager kind of asked me to demonstrate my skills to him and show him that I know how to do it. So I showed him, and he looked at my trainer and he high-fived my trainer. Like I successfully demonstrated like a skill that I was supposed to be doing. And he looked at my trainer and he high-fived her. And that's this like triangulated projection dynamic where they recognize something good in you, but for whatever reason, they're attached to not assigning it to you and assign it to someone else. So he like recognized that I did a great job, but then assigned the great job to my trainer. And my brain is working so fast, it's coming up with some like ideas. It could come from some like collective illusions that we see in workplaces where people automatically assume like trainee equals dumb, or like trainee equals bad, or trainee equals stupid. Like it's like this entitlement in society where it's like if you're a trainer, it automatically means you're good. Like your title means you're good. Manager means good person. Manager means good leader. And trainee means don't know anything. Trainee means incompetent. New means don't know anything. And it doesn't really fit in reality, right? Like your title doesn't mean anything about you, technically. The title means you've been, like, supporting evidence for how you got your title is you've been promoted to that position. There could be many reasons why you're promoted to that position. Some with integrity and some with not. We know this in if you've ever worked in a narcissistic job with a narcissistic boss, promotions don't necessarily equate to skill, and in some places they do, but they can be related to conformity or, alignment. Like, narcissists will want to work with people who excuse their behavior and partake in their same behaviors and mirror them completely. So yeah, it's like this entitlement where people project because they have wrong meanings of words, right? Trainee doesn't mean dumb. And we could apply this to a lot of systems, right? Child doesn't mean you don't know anything, right? Just because you're a child doesn't mean you know less than a parent. Young doesn't mean you don't know anything. Just because you're young doesn't mean you know less. Old doesn't mean you know everything. Just because you're old doesn't mean you know more, right? Like, these are like false associations that we have with words in society. And so this is really cool. Like, so if an old person refuses to recognize your intelligence, they may have this attachment and this false meaning that younger than me always means dumber than me. I don't believe that, but they might have an attachment to that. Others, younger than me always means dumber than me. So if they recognize that you're smarter than them, it might cause them to project. And they say, no, she's not. I'm the smart one. And here's why. And then they start convincing themselves. And that's that wheel of samsara, where it's the suffering and the stories and the narratives, right? So then they begin to control the narrative. Ooh, full circle, baby. Full circle, baby. What? Then they begin to control the narrative. They project. They have all these attachments and false associations. And then they start controlling the narrative. And they start coming up with reasons like, they start calling you entitled. Yeah, they start calling you, and then there's just more projections, and or they start, maybe saying that you are lying. If they don't believe that a young person then can be smart, then they're convinced that you're lying and that you're not actually smart, or that everything you say isn't true and isn't credible, right? And then that's that narrative, and then they tell others everything they say isn't credible, they're a liar. And what others don't question is why they're coming up with that narrative. It's like, this person is that, the narcissist is saying they're a liar because they don't believe that young people can be smarter than them. That's a narrative. So then other people who have been gaslight and don't trust their own eyes, they look at you and they're like, oh, this person is a liar, and they don't actually know what they say. This person isn't actually smart, they're just a liar. But they're not questioning the narcissist. You know what I mean? So our antidote is like, it's okay to question others, and it's okay to question ourselves. But here's the thing about narcissists. They don't think it's okay to question them. I know you've experienced this, because I have too. Sorry, I don't want to tell you what you've experienced, but I think you know what I mean. So, sorry if it felt like that. But narcissists don't let you ask questions, right? They think that asking questions is a disrespect to their authority. It's not a disrespect to their authority, it's a disrespect to their entitlement, right? Asking questions, if we really want to challenge this right now, your teacher is an authority. Teachers want you to ask them questions, right? And so how could we say that, to respect authority is never to ask questions, right? But a lot of people carry this inversion, and if you do carry this inversion, I want you to know that, there's always room for growth. If you ever notice anything that you do that you believe is wrong, the correct action to take is to accept the truth and create an intent to learn. What narcissists do when they see something wrong is they start projecting, and they create chaos and harm others in the process of kind of preventing their own growth. You know what I mean? Yeah. And what that may look like for you is they project, and they see something in themselves that they don't like, and then they might do something really, really mean to you to try and convince you that you are them. Yeah. Yeah, it's like this like ritualistic way of being that narcissists have. Like let's say they respond to you in a way that's a little bit like of an overreaction. They might do something to force an overreaction out of you and then tell you that you overreact a lot. It's like they're trying to prove to themselves that they're not the problem, you are, right? And they're doing it in a way that is wrong. It's almost like you're being scapegoated, right? Because you didn't hurt them. It's like when they believe that they're not the problem, you are, they might not actually be the problem, but you aren't the problem, right? It's like they project their own demons and their own past demons onto you. Yeah, maybe they're not the problem. Maybe they need to accept that, but that doesn't mean you are. It could be someone else in their life that's the problem, right? That happens a lot. That's that scapegoating of projectors, right? People like, not human design projectors. I'm talking about like people who project a lot of their issues onto others. So yeah, I was so excited to share this with you. I think this is like amazing breakthrough for me. And I'm feeling super inspired, and I have so much more to share with you. So I'd love for you to stick around and stay on the channel. So if you want to like watch more from me, I have like a bunch of playlists that you can check out, different like parts of my healing journey and like advice that I can give you and knowledge that I've created and insights that I've created. Also, I really love to journal. I'm super passionate about journaling. It's how I've created so much breakthrough and transformation in my life, and it's honestly how I generate these insights that I share with you on here. And because I love it so much, I've created a helpful framework for you to teach you how to journal like I do and get you started on your journaling journey if you like have no idea where to start. So yeah,